Hello everyone, welcome to Pegasus, your show about Mississippi State University College of Veterinary Medicine. I am your host, Dr. Brittany Moore-Henderson. So there has been quite a bit of things going on at the college, but today I want to take the time to highlight some of the amazing things in which our students are doing here at the college. So joining me today is Ms. Alexandra Jurica, a current second-year student in the class of 2026. Thank you for joining me today, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
So, Alex, first of all, let's start off with just trying to know more about you. So, tell us a little bit of where you're from and what ultimately led you here to Mississippi State.
Yeah, so I'm originally from a city southwest of Houston, Texas, and I went to undergrad at Texas A&M where I majored in animal science and biomedical sciences, and then I am now here in Mississippi. So for the most part with Mississippi State, when I decided to apply, it was trying to find a curriculum that really focused on the clinical prep and getting students as they graduate really ready to be excelling in clinical practice. And throughout that entire time, I also had a couple friends that came here or did internships here, and they really kind of motivated me to say like, oh, you're really interested in like food animal and large animal stuff. Mississippi State should definitely be on your list.
Awesome. So, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's one of the things that we highlight within our program is the 2+2 program. And for you, you're about to get ready to get into the clinic. So you just sat through the clinical portion. So the 2 years of being in the classroom, now you're about to get into the clinics. Yeah. So how do you feel about getting ready to get into the clinics? Actually, next week.
Oh, yeah. It's coming faster than I was ready, but I'm super excited because I am just super ready to apply what I've learned in classes, being able to work on cases, get back in that clinical scenario. And then also I'm super excited to get to spend some time with my classmates. I have a lot of classmates that I haven't gotten the chance to really get to know super well. And so I'm excited to work side by side them as well as the clinicians and other staff downstairs, and just to apply everything that I've learned in real world and get ready to go when it's time to call myself a DVM.
Exactly. I love to hear that. So one of the things that I know we didn't talk about was, what are your career interests currently?
Yeah, so currently I hope to return back to Texas and go to a rural mixed animal practice. Mm-hmm. A lot of my focus, aside from the mixed practice side of it, is to do client education, giving back to the communities, while also focusing on like reproductive and client consultation. Okay. That's something that I'm super passionate about. And then eventually, after I kind of get my legs and my feet figured out after I graduate, hopefully 5 years or so, I want to eventually transition into being a practice owner, and kind of go from that aspect, because a lot of my background comes from like small businesses, because my parents own a small business. Okay. And something I'm super passionate about.
Well, I love to hear that. And I love to hear the fact that your interest is in mixed animal medicine and also going into a rural area, because that's one of the things that we know. We have a shortage of veterinarians in rural areas. But that leads me to also talk about one of the amazing things that you have been a part of. So I heard that you are currently one of 25 veterinary students that were selected to participate in the integrated beef cattle program that's offered through Oklahoma State. How did you learn about that program, and tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so I learned about that program. I am on a whole bunch of Facebook pages, I feel like as every vet student or veterinarian is, and they focus on like beef cattle and rural medicine. And I saw this post by a clinician at Ohio State that I absolutely love and adore. She posted about it, and I was like, oh, that sounds like something perfect. And I was like, I wonder if I can apply to it as somebody who's not an OSU student. Mm-hmm. So I sent them an email, and I was like, this sounds really cool, because as somebody who wants to do mixed practice, rural practice, especially beef cattle, exactly. I was like, this sounds exactly up my alley. And they're like, oh yeah, we'd be happy to have you like apply. And so I went through the process, and going through that program has been absolutely amazing.
That's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the things, or how, I guess, the program is set up and how it has pretty much supplemented your education here at Mississippi State?
Yeah, so the program, like you said, it's 25 veterinary students. I am one of the 2 students that are outside of Oklahoma State. Mm-hmm. There's another student that I already know from Iowa State. And aside from that, there's also 25 DVMs that were selected. And so that program started in January. It lasts about a year. And throughout that entire program, we started off with like communication skills, leadership styles, and just overall like mentorship, which I am super passionate about. I really want to like take what I apply from that as a practitioner to help mentor youth and hopefully motivate that next generation of veterinarians. Yes. But aside from kind of those outside of clinical prep, it also teaches us skills about reproduction, forage management, range management, and just overall herd health and consultation, which I think while I'm getting that here at Mississippi State, getting that kind of outside view from maybe other like staff at a different program can also supplement my program here, because I get multiple views and say, oh, I really like that. That's the way that they do it. Or I like the way that we do it here. Because in that way I can kind of mix and mash and see what works best for me.
Yes, and that says a lot, because the thing is sometimes, you know, students can think that, oh, I have to stick with this. I can't do anything outside of my program. And you are showing that, hey, we provide you with great education here, but you have the opportunity to go out and find other programs and be a part of those programs still while going through your second and third year.
Yes.
So that's amazing, because second year is one of the most rigorous, you know, years. And for you to go and apply for that program and then actually be in it and be one of only 25 students that were selected, that says a lot. So cahoots to you, that's great.
Thank you.
So one of the things that I want to highlight, because you have done a lot of other things just even outside of that, so been a part of some of our outreach programs, and then you've taken advantage of some of the leadership programs that we've had. And one of those programs is a veterinary leadership experience program that you attended last year. So can you tell us a little bit about that program, and then also what led you to want to go back again this year?
So the veterinary leadership experience, I will like wholeheartedly say, changed my life. It is one of those programs that you walk into not really sure what's going to come your way, but when you walk in and you meet the people that are running it, you meet the other students from all the other vet schools, whether it's from US schools, Canadian schools, even some schools over in Europe, you're getting the opportunity to learn about leadership styles, empathetic leadership, ways to communicate. And I found myself a completely different person when I left. And I always joke with myself and my friends. I say, to this day, if something happens, I think back to VLA. I was like, no, they taught us to say something like this, or take a second to think about what we're about to say and to really reflect on yourself as a leader and how you communicate with others. And through that experience, I was super motivated to apply to go back as a student assistant, because I was like, if it changed my life once, what is it going to do a second time?
Exactly.
And to be able to work on the other side of that program as assistant and see kind of how stuff works, I think will really be like just a whole real world round circle experience.
Exactly, because you're pretty much like you said, you're learning all the skills to take to be a great leader, from communication and just being able to just work with other teams. And like you said, you experienced that throughout that week, working with other veterinary students, other veterinary faculty from other areas as well. And now you're getting the opportunity to go back as an intern. So you're going to see some of the students. We currently have three of our veterinary students that are going back this year. And so you're going to be there to also show them, hey, this other side, and you have the opportunity of doing this as well.
Yes.
So that says a lot about what our students are doing and all the amazing things, because you're going to be in clinics, but you're taking a week away from clinics to go back into that program, because it was so beneficial. And I remember as a student going to that program and how beneficial it is, and I hope that I actually get an opportunity to go back in the future. But that says a lot, because that is an amazing program. And for you all, that program is located in Post Falls, Idaho, actually. And they spend a whole week on a campus, and basically you're in cabins and you're out in the wild basically, and you're getting the opportunity just to work and learn about others and develop those leadership skills. So that's an amazing program. So I'm glad that you get the opportunity to go back a second time, but in a different role. So that's amazing. So I guess one of the things that we think about, being a student, you're about to get ready to go into, like I said, the second phase of our curriculum, into the clinics. We know we have students that are getting ready to apply for veterinary school right now. What would be some advice that you would give to students that are applying for veterinary school?
Yeah, so as you said, 'tis the season for applications. And I remember when I applied, I was like, man, this application process is completely daunting. There's this giant application that you're going through. And one of my biggest piece of advice is going to be break it up. So set small goals, small objectives for yourself. Say, okay, well, by the end of this month, I want to have blah, blah, blah done. I want to have my letter of recommendations sent out so that people can start submitting them. Because if you turn that giant task of completing that application, doing those sub-applications for schools and essays and stuff like that, break it into smaller chunks, and that way you can get through it a little bit better and it makes it not seem so much. Because as somebody like me who applied to 11 programs, it was a lot.
Exactly.
And that's like something that like some of our faculty here say, how do you eat an elephant? You eat it bite by bite. So take your time, set goals, set objectives so that you can slowly work through it and eventually get done with it more or quicker than you thought you could.
Exactly, and that's some good advice, because one of the things I think a lot of applicants do not realize how extensive that application is. And like you said, it's pretty much a lot of information that you have to put in it. When you start selecting your schools in May, then you might get other supplemental applications and questions that you have to answer. So trying to, like you said, break it up, go ahead on and do as much as you can do right now. Then when May comes, then you have some more things to do, but you get the opportunity to like take your time and focus on those particular areas. So I know one of the biggest things right now for applicants is knowing like when is the perfect time to submit that application. What would be your recommendation?
So I would recommend submitting it a little early. So submitting it a month or two before it's due, because my first time I applied, I submitted it kind of right before the deadline. And so then a lot of my applications came back, like let's say I was missing something. And then at that time, you may not have the opportunity to go back through and fix something or update something that you needed to add. So I would really suggest doing it at least a month, if not two, in advance, because if all else fails, you can still go in and add opportunities and experiences.
Exactly.
But that way you get the big old check mark from VMCAS saying you're good to go.
Exactly. And I'm so glad that you said that, because that's always our recommendation to students, is to make sure to apply early and submit early as well too, because you have that time to let VMCAS go ahead and verify that information. If you're missing something, they can reach out to you. They can't reach out to you after the deadline. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. But I guess I want to say that we have covered quite a bit, learned a lot about you and all the different things that you are doing. I'm so happy that you're about to get ready to get into the clinic and, like you said, apply all the knowledge that you learned throughout these first 2 years and apply in the clinic. So congratulations on that. I know you're looking forward to it. But thank you so much for joining me today, Alex.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes. So this wraps up this month's episode of Pegasus. If you have any questions, suggestions about today's show, do not hesitate to contact me at brittany.henderson@msstate.edu. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you next time here on Pegasus.